Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video we're going to be talking about officially Tropical Storm Bertha. That's right, it has formed into a tropical storm just like we forecasted yesterday. Now before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now for today's comment of the day, I want to know, how long do you think we have until our next tropical storm develops after Bertha? Let me know in the comments down below and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get into this video though, and we're looking right now at the National Hurricane Center's forecast for this one, and you can see it's expected to go onto land in central South Carolina and then quickly become a tropical depression. Obviously, they usually very quickly drop in intensity. Very normal, I definitely agree with that. And then it's going to slowly move through South Carolina into North Carolina and actually towards the Appalachian Mountains as well. But we'll talk all about that throughout this video. We're going to go over model guidance. We're going to go over our official direct weather forecast, all of that sort of stuff. Now, I wanted to show you guys something funny because a lot of people were kind of mad at me about going against what the National Hurricane Center was saying with this one, because they only had a 20% chance of development for this one. So here's the progression of their tweets yesterday. Or sorry, this was May 25th, actually, this first one. They said that it was not expected to become a tropical cyclone, and that's what a lot of people were telling me, and they were expecting me to kind of just go with what the National Hurricane Center said. Well, 16 hours ago, they upgraded it to a 30% chance, and then by the time they reached this morning, they say, oh, well, now it looks like there's a good chance that it's going to become a tropical storm, and then here's where it formed into a tropical storm. My point for saying all of this isn't that I don't like the National Hurricane Center or that I think that they're bad, but my point is, I'm not just going to go with what they say, because if I did that, first off, I wouldn't be making my own forecast. Second off, why would people even watch my videos if they could just go straight to the National Hurricane Center and look at the information? So I'm always going to stick to my own guns. Obviously, I respect them a lot, and I think that they're great, but I'm going to go with my own thoughts when I make my videos. All right, so we're about to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at some model guidance. We're going to look at the spaghetti models for this one, and also some satellite imagery, and then we're going to get into our simulated radar and just take it day by day and show you guys the actual impacts you could feel from this one. Alright, and here we are taking a look at our spaghetti models, and you can see they actually are in great agreement, with the exception of this one that kind of takes it eastward back into the ocean and then hitting kind of Cape Cod. Do I think that's likely? Not at all. I think it's going to take this track where it hits South Carolina and it goes through central North Carolina and then heads through kind of western Virginia and West Virginia and then western Pennsylvania. And by that point, it will be kind of weakened all the way towards basically just showers. So we won't be looking at too many impacts. Once it's in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, that area, it's going to be very, very weak. But we could see some heavier rain for South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. And I'm going to talk a lot about that throughout this video. All right, here's your satellite imagery. I just love looking at the visible satellite with how HD it has become in recent years. And it's just a beautiful storm out there. It does have some spin to it, so it is a pretty potent tropical storm, actually. I think it has 45 mile per hour sustained winds, which is pretty intense. So let's go ahead and look at that simulated radar. We're taking a look at our first frame, and this is approximately now on the simulated radar. And you can see we are actually seeing some very heavy areas of precipitation in South Carolina, including Charleston is right in that kind of, it's not quite an eye, but it's pretty similar to an eye. It's just near the center of low pressure, and that's the area receiving the most winds as well. So if you're in Charleston, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you guys if you're seeing actual impacts from this one. I'd love to hear about how that is. Now we're about to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the wind and then the wind gusts for South Carolina and North Carolina, and then we're going to get back into the simulated radar and just take it further north once this storm is inland and take a look at the impacts everywhere it could feel, even if you're inland where this storm is expected to go. Alright, and here we are taking a look at the winds, and this is the sustained winds in knots, and I do see some reds showing up, which is indicating areas of 36 to maybe even 50 knot winds. So there is some quite intense winds, especially on the north side of that low pressure system, heading into the more central and northern regions of South Carolina. So again, if you are in that area, let me know, because I'd love to hear about the impacts you're feeling from this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the wind gusts. And you can see this is actually in miles per hour this time, so this is going to be a little bit more applicable for you guys and a little easier to read. But you can see in the blues we are seeing 18 to 34 mile per hour wind gusts. In the green we're seeing 34 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. And there in that orange and red we are seeing 50 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So this one isn't just some very, very weak tropical storm. We are seeing 50 mile per hour plus wind gusts there for some regions that are in those oranges and reds there in northern South Carolina. So if you're right in that sweet spot, you're probably feeling very major impacts from this one. Almost hurricane type impacts as far as gusts are concerned. So this is a very strong tropical storm actually. We are feeling some major wind gusts, especially wind gust impacts here, but we are going to see inches of rain as well. All right, and now let's take it to the next frame, and this is actually going to be by this evening, I would say approximately let's say 6 or 7 p.m. here, and we can see that there is still some greens there, especially for southern North Carolina and northern South Carolina, even pretty far inland. And again, that's 34 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts, so it's going to be very windy in these green regions. Even the lighter blue regions are going to be very windy, and then blues, you're going to be pretty gusty as well. So it's going to be a pretty big windstorm throughout the Carolinas and possibly even up and through Virginia. All right, so we're about to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that simulated radar once again, and we're just going to take it northward and continue tracking this storm. All right, so here we are, and this is approximately the same hour. You can see we are still seeing some heavier showers, possibly even thunderstorms here for South Carolina and North Carolina within this one. Some deeper reds indicating areas of heavier precipitation, and those thunderstorms could spread all the way up and through Virginia as well in those outer bands. Let's take it a couple more hours in, probably about 10 p.m., and you can see that we still have some of those heavier showers, but now they're moving mostly into Virginia and then West Virginia as well. There is a very heavy area of precipitation there for the very southern regions of West Virginia and the very western regions of Virginia, and that's going to be an area where we probably see the most precipitation as well, wherever that sets up. Let's take it to approximately maybe 5 a.m. here, 4 or 5 a.m. on Thursday, May 28th, and you can see Ohio is getting a lot of that heavier precipitation as well as it spreads out further. And I could see that tomorrow we're probably going to expect to see a lot of isolated and scattered thunderstorms throughout North Carolina and Virginia. I think that this is probably associated with this tropical storm, so be on the lookout for that. I think we do have a marginal risk for severe weather tomorrow, so that's probably to do with these thunderstorms located there that you can see for Virginia and North Carolina. Let's go ahead and take it even further. This is maybe about 9 a.m. on Thursday, May 28th, and you can see it's basically diminished to just showers that are pretty much spread all over the place. And this is, by point, it's pretty much weakened completely. All right, now we're about to move on, and we're going to take a look at the total rainfall on a couple of models here, and then we're going to get into our official forecast for Tropical Storm Bertha here from Direct Weather, and then we're going to get into some severe weather updates, actually. All right, and here we are taking a look at our first model. Keep in mind the greens is where we have anything to about half an inch of rain. The blue is where we have half an inch to 2 inches, and the purples is 2 inches to 6 inches. The deeper and darker the purple, the more inches of rain, so that's where we would be probably at about 4 to 6. The lighter colors is probably 2 to 4. And you can see we mostly stick to the lighter colors, and that spreads throughout northern South Carolina, southern North Carolina, and even through some portions of Virginia and West Virginia. Remember that heavier area of precipitation? That's exactly where the purples mostly head towards. So we do have some deeper purples also for northern South Carolina there, and that's probably where we're seeing about 4 to 6 inches of rain. So again, significant amounts of rain as well. Let's take a look at a second model. This is a little lower resolution one, and you can see it completely agrees. So I just wanted to show this just to show there's multiple models showing 2 to 6 inches of rain for these regions. So it is very likely that we do see those amounts. All right, now here was our official forecast for this one as of yesterday. You can see it was located all the way down there by Florida. I wanted to show this because it has taken a very far western track. The red cone indicates anywhere where I think the low pressure system could head, and you can see the very western edge of that is basically where it is at and where it's going to track. So it still is within my cone and is going to stay within my cone. However, it is on the very, very western edge, so I was probably expecting it to go a little bit further east. So my forecast wasn't perfect by any means, but at least it was within my cone. Here's our official forecast today, and you can see it is a tropical storm located offshore of South Carolina, and it's going to head northward. It's at 32.7 degrees north by 79.4 degrees west. It has sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. The low pressure center is a 1007 millibar low pressure system, and the movement is northwest at 9 miles per hour. and it's going to head through South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and then up through, I think, Pennsylvania, and curve kind of eastward back through New York. But again, it is going to be so weak by that point, it's not really going to matter where it goes. All right, now a little bit of a severe thunderstorm update. We have an enhanced risk down there for Texas today. I'm expecting some tornadoes and significant hail. Here's that tornado outlook, and you can see we have a 2% in the green. Also notice South Carolina and North Carolina there. With this tropical storm, we will have a chance for tornadoes. That's very typical. And in that brown shade for Texas, we have a 5% chance for tornadoes. But I'm mostly worried about the hail there in Texas. We have a hatched area, which indicates an area where they think 2-inch plus diameter hail is likely. And we have a 30% chance of hail in general there in the red. So a very big hail event going to be occurring today down there for Texas, and I think we just had one of those as well very, very recently. All right, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how do you think this one's going to develop? And Creep Story said, I think this will be a weak tropical storm, and that's exactly what happened. So Creep Story's perfect prediction there. It got 7 likes, so a lot of people agreed with you as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.